Today we're taking a look at the brand new Mandalorian Pagodan figure and comparing it to the very first Mandalorian figure we ever got in the line. We're actually going to start this off by looking at the old version. This is the very first Black Series figure we ever got for the Mandalorian TV show. We got it a little before the show came out. And this is a figure that is so nostalgic to me. I very vividly remember going to Times Square for Triple Force Friday in 2019 and just standing out in the cold outside of the Disney store in New York and just waiting to be able to buy all of these figures. And this is one of the figures that I got at that point. This figure means a lot to me, and I think it still really holds up. However, this brand new version really just blows it out of the water. We're going to start off by going over their accessories and taking a look at the brand new sculpt on this guy and comparing them with some close-ups. And then we're going to talk a little bit to decide if you have this original figure, should you jump and buy the new one, or should you just stay with this one? And in the odd case that you have the new one, but you don't have the old one, is this figure still something worth acquiring? The original Mandalorian figure came with two accessories, the first being this incredible ambient phase pulse rifle. This is an accessory that sadly wasn't included with the new version. However, we've gotten so many of these over the years that I'm sure you have an extra lying around. This could clip into the figure's back, and I think overall it's still a very, very solid sculpt. The next accessory that this Mandalorian came with is this blaster that actually is included with the new one, but it is a brand new sculpt, which we'll take a look at right now. Here you can see a comparison between the old and new blaster. I think the new blaster in and of itself is just such a nice improvement. You can see all the detailing on the hilt. There's just a bit more depth to the detailing on the actual gun itself. As you can see on both sides, this new one I think is just quite a bit better. The new Mandalorian figure comes with a couple more accessories, being the vibroblade and a brand new hand to hold it. If you don't want the Mandalorian to be holding his vibroblade, you can also put it into his shin right here. It tucks away and it fits in perfectly. Another accessory that most people don't talk about is this little thermal detonator on his belt that can actually pop right out. It is incredibly small, so just be careful to not lose it when you get this figure. Now that we've gotten the accessories out of the way, let's take a look at these two sculpts to figure out how much exactly is new. And the answer is pretty much all of it. This brand new figure actually reuses some of its components from the Glavis Ringworld Mandalorian, which we got a little while ago. These figures don't reuse any parts one from the other. This is completely brand new. To look over the helmets, this original one had much more of a gunmetal gray coloring with a few hits of what looks like rust, whereas this brand new one has a very shiny Beskar helmet, and the sculpt is completely brand new as well. You can tell with the difference in the T-shape. And overall, I think this brand new helmet just looks very, very clean. You can see from the side here just how much better it is. Going over the chest for these two figures, this old one actually had the chest molded into the plastic with the entire torso, as well as these shoulder gauntlets are actually glued down to the figure, so they move along with the articulation on both sides, but they are glued down. Whereas in the new one, first of all, this chest piece is actually separate from the torso and it's sort of glued on. And both of these shoulder pads are now on the O-ring system, which means that they're a little bit loose so that they don't hinder the articulation when moving the arms upwards like that. You can see that on both sides, and I just think it gives it a much more realistic, bulky, padded look. The coloring is rather similar on the torsos for both of these figures. All throughout the figure you can see they really managed to match these colors quite well, even down to the bluish grays on the shins. The only thing that have very drastic color differences are the leg pieces. As you can see on the new one, you have much more of a black leg here and brown here, whereas on the old figure, the color for the boots matched a lot of the gray for the rest of the torso. Another big part of the figure is that now with this new one, we actually have a soft goods cape as opposed to this really bad plastic one that we got in the original figure. If we move that out of the way, you can see a little bit of the detail here. This spot is to hold the ambient phase rifle. And then on the brand new one, if we move the cape off to the side, we can see that same level of detail. However, on this figure, we do actually have the holes to fit the jetpack as well. However, the jetpack is not included since the Mandalorian never wore it while wearing this specific armor. We do still have the little peg for the phase rifle, so if we grab that rifle from the previous figure, we should still be able to just peg that in. And there you have it. That's what the old rifle would look like on the new figure. One of the most unexpected differences between these two figures is actually the height. As you can see, if I have both of these figures standing upright, the old one is quite a bit taller than the new one. Putting them back to back, you can see there's a lot more bulkiness with this one, but it does come in at just a hair shorter than the original. Overall, I think these are both really good figures, but this new one just completely blows the old one out of the water. This armor design is something that I really, really loved ever since the first photo of the Mandalorian came out before the show aired, and I just think it's such a great upgrade to this original figure. I still have a lot of nostalgia for this figure, but it's definitely getting replaced by this new Pagodan version. So there you have it. That's a quick and easy comparison between both of these figures. I'll have a full review of this figure coming out very soon, but I did want to just show the differences between these two. Overall, if you have the original figure, I think this is definitely one that you should get. I think in the 7 years since the previous one's release, Hasbro has just done some incredible advancements in their technologies, and the sculpt on this figure is just truly fantastic. It is such an upgrade, and I would highly recommend getting this new figure. But let me know. If you have the old figure, are you happy with it? Are you happy to stay with that figure? Or are you still hoping to get the new one? If you have the new one, is there anything about the previous one that you like better? Me personally, I think this new one just completely blows it out of the water. I'm very happy that I managed to get this figure just as it was coming out. And here you have the two of them together one more time. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and all that stuff, and I'll see you next time.